So we're going to run the presentation that we're going to make here is going to run through the three main areas of the business plan, which form the basis of the application to the Arts Council. As I understand it, as I'm sure it to be true, all the members of the members of the NRTF, you will have all received. You'll all have had copies, obviously, of the business plan when we wanted to sign it off, and you'll also have seen copies of the business plan. So, I mean, what we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of flesh onto the bones of that. We're going to run through the three sections. Davey's going to lead on section 1, I'll lead on sections 2 and 3. We might make references to some people out there, and if and when we do, we'd like you to identify yourselves. We're not going to ask you to necessarily say anything, Claire, but when one of us mentions Edinburgh, it'd be quite nice if people know, and it gives a sense that it isn't just one or two people that are doing the work, that actually there's a lot of people involved in delivering stuff.
I know who I am now.
Claire doesn't know who she is. She hasn't even had a drink yet. So, so I'm going to hand on to David, and we're going to have to fiddle with this thing.
What do I do? Press the next. Okay, so as Ralph said, there are three elements to the business plan broadly. The first one is to provide the rural touring network with training, information and networking services. And I'm leading on that because that's broadly what Alice and myself at Creative Arts Promotion do on behalf of the National Rural Touring Forum. And it's at the very, very heart of the business plan and the way that we are working forward over the next 5 years. The most important thing, and John alluded to the growth that we've seen just digitally through our central office and the website, but the central office is now handling probably 10 times more inquiries about rural touring than it was even 3 years ago, not just from people wanting to set up schemes or to find out about voluntary promoting, but from artists, from sectoral partners, from funders, from international organisations. We're the first port of call. Alice in particular, needs to be able to refer people on to the relevant stakeholders or schemes or promoters or members of the board to keep the interest in rural touring going. And I think that that central office role is absolutely vital. The board, over the period of the next 5 years, wants to look at strengthening its governance. I have the role of, for my sins, as company secretary for the NRTF. It is a members' organisation, and it has been largely the board has been made up of full touring scheme members. In this period, we will definitely be looking at strengthening the governance, looking at promoter representation, company and performer representation, and other sectoral partners who have an interest in rural touring, as we're looking at the wider role that NRTF can play over the next period. John's mentioned the ICT, the information communications technologies. This is a very big thing for us. We have got a website which has been creaking on, I guess, for about 5 years. We've been successful in our application to the Arts Council for G4A money to help us really look at that process. That starts here at the conference. You'll see that there are sessions that Carl Morris, can I mention, is Carl in the room actually? He's not, no, but Carl Morris, who some of you will meet from Native HQ, will be running those. We will also be asking for your contributions at some of the informal sessions, and if you've got any ideas about information technology and what can help you as a promoter or as a scheme or as a sectoral partner or as an artist, please write them down on the whiteboard downstairs so that we can take them forward. The board will then be looking at those as part of its facilitations communication strategy that it's going to do in the autumn, when by October, November, we will be looking to recruit a digital specialist to help us look at the whole way that we can strengthen our communication and technology, with a full plan being rolled out to the members with the offer of training, workshops, regional get-togethers in early spring of next year. So that's the plan for that one. Very exciting, and thank you for the Arts Council for giving us a G4A to really set that on our way as we get ready for the NPO years. The annual National Rural Touring Conference, that's the absolute conduit of the NRTF. I mean, it's called the National Rural Touring Forum because it started as a forum getting together at an occasion smaller, but like this. It's grown and grown and grown, and it's absolutely the essential way that we deliver all our information, get all our ideas, meet new people, discuss new ways of working, and keep the whole idea of rural touring moving forward. So the NRTF conference is absolutely central. Next year, as John mentioned, we are going to be working with Warwick Arts Centre, and we're particularly pleased to be starting a relationship with China Plate, and Ed and Paul are here, and maybe they'd like to be the first people to show them. And please go and say hi to them. They will be curating that showcase. It will be a showcase festival, specifically looking at showcasing new work for rural touring. We're really excited about that. And we're also delighted that China Plate are working with us on the Edinburgh Festival Promoters Project, which Claire from Cheshire is leading on, which is a project which again was, as John mentioned, was we received some funding via G4A from the northern area of the Arts Council for northern promoters to go to the Edinburgh Festival with their scheme managers and to see a range of new work. And we're also going to be doing presentations about rural touring, which Ralph, and I think Caroline from NEAT as well, is going to be working on that as well on the 19th and the 23rd of August, I think that is.
I don't know.
22nd, 23rd. Yeah, around that. So if you've got any ideas and want to talk about Edinburgh, please talk to China Plate or to Caroline or to Ralph or to talk to Claire, and they'll fill you in about that. And Ralph, you're going to talk about the...
Some of the things that we're talking about are things that we're actually doing now, as opposed to what we'll be doing in a year or two's time. So we've certainly hit the ground running. I'm really pleased that the relationship between ourselves and the organisers of Decibel, the Arts Council, there really seems to be quite a strong connection there, and that's largely down to Nikkei Jonah, who's going to be coming here tomorrow. She's going to be here from the Arts Council. She'll be talking briefly about the Decibel Showcase. For those of you who don't know it, it's a showcase for work made by companies led by black people and people who are disabled. And there has been a bit of a bumpy relationship between the experience that people have had when they've gone to Decibel. For example, last year, a lot of companies said, yes, our work is suitable for rural touring. The feedback we got was, great show, totally unsuitable, way too big. And there have been very constructive discussions that I've had with Nikkei, and I really feel that we are making progress. And I want to put a marker down that for those of you that may have not had such a good experience at Decibel, to sort of give it another go. Obviously can't speak for the quality of the work. And one of the things I'm trying to do is the Arts Council gave me access to the proposals, the 50 companies that are performing. And I can't curate them in the same way that Ed and China Plate might be able to do for Edinburgh, but I am trying to sift them, and I'm trying to get advice about, not to do with content, not to do with artistic decisions about what the sort of shows that people might go and see, but factors such as what is the get-in time, what is the minimum stage space requirement is. So there's a kind of a sub-curation that's going to go on, if such a word exists. I'm going to mention Claire again, because the interesting thing about well, it's not interesting, it's just a fact that the G4A with regards to Edinburgh is focused on the schemes, directly on the schemes located in the north of the country. But one of the things that can be of benefit to everybody is that the information about shows that people might want to go and see, I'm hoping and I understand will be made available to everybody. And for those of you that have been to Edinburgh, it can be a complete nightmare. There's so much choice. that somebody giving you a kind of a handle on the kinds of shows or the nature of shows that you might find interesting, I think could be very, very useful.
Is that, can I just say also that we will be continuing the Go and See grants that some of our members might be used to, the placements and the regional development grants. So they're not going away. They're seen as very important parts of the NRTF. So. Yeah.
So it's me again.
Next section.
So, so the next section of the business plan relates to supporting, developing innovative work, international partnerships and commissions. So, so in terms of relationships with other people, other companies, artists around the country. So we've mentioned the China Plate. I had a meeting recently with Gavin Stride. So Gavin is here from, I understand it, so Gavin leads Farm and Maltings, but there was an MPO, successful MPO application to the Arts Council for a consortium of a consortium called House. We are yet to find out exactly how that might work, but it's in a sense, going back to what John was saying about the NRTF needing to open itself up. I think that a relationship with a region-wide initiative in the South East gives us an opportunity to talk about venues that don't necessarily sit directly within the orbit of what rural touring schemes are, and yet the working practice, the way in which we do business, is very similar to the way a lot of small arts centres might do business. So that's one example of a relationship that we would like to invest some time in developing. With regards to IVOC, there was a sense that IVOC is a brand, it's a kind of a name that people seem to like. And it's taken an awful long time, but tomorrow we're having a sort of a closed meeting with a number of people from colleagues from other countries. So we have Pete, who is hiding from Night Out from Wales. We have Caroline from Neath in Scotland. John Morgan is going to be travelling and joining us later on tonight or tomorrow morning from the Federation of Scottish Theatres. We have two people from Ritz-Theatren. We have Marie, who is from, as I understand it, a regional organisation not dissimilar to what a scheme does. And I understand that, I'm going to put words into Marie's mouth now, but Marie would like to make a buddy with a scheme from within the NRTF. And it was a bit of a missed opportunity last year that we had 3 people from 3 different bits of Ritz-Theatren, and we didn't capitalise on an opportunity for people to make an initial link with those 3 organisations. I know that Take Heart has made a link with one of the organisations from within Ritz-Theatren, but if any of you are interested in developing a relationship with a very attractive part of Sweden, it's located apparently between Gothenburg and Stockholm, then Marie's here she's here for the whole conference, so please go and talk to Marie and make friends with Marie about that as a possibility. We also have Maria, who is from Hallunda.
That's right,
from the national office with Ritz-Theatren. And as I understand it, at the Congress of the entire organisation back in May, there was a decision that was made about developing an international programme, and within that, IVOC was referenced as a possibility that could be pursued. So we're very interested about that. And we have Steve Thomas, is that right, from New Zealand?
Yeah.
So I'm very hoping that Steve will join us. So the kind of the international possibilities, and we're going to talk about what the network, which is what it effectively is, what that could be from a position of mutual benefit.